All right, let's have a little heart to heart about what you can expect in your first 6 to 12 months of being a new provider, coming from somebody who was a new grad nurse practitioner just 1 year ago and feels a lot differently about it all now that I'm like kind of on the other side of it. So I literally have my notes here on my phone to go over things with you guys that I'm like have been thinking about lately and just want to make sure that I share with you. So this is what to expect in the first couple of months to year of being a new grad provider and my tips on how to survive it. Because you will survive it. You just might need somebody to tell you how to or what to expect. So the first thing I want you to think of is the first year of being a new provider, treat it like a residency, okay? Be prepared to be learning a lot, studying a lot, researching a lot, and maybe doing more outside of work than you will do once you get more comfortable in this role. And it's not a bad thing, but it just helps you become a better provider. So when I first started, I was eased into my full patient day. So I started somewhere, let's say 4 patients in the morning and 4 patients in the afternoon. And once those patients were scheduled for me, I would spend either the downtime that I had the day before, or sometimes doing stuff at home, preparing for the next day. I was looking through patients' charts. Hello, Rue. Would you like to make an appearance? I gotta take my dog out. So do I still prep charts now to this day, a year into it? Yes, absolutely. But it's much more minimal now. When I first started, I was making sure that I knew every single diagnosis in that patient's chart. I knew every single medication that they were on and why they were on it. Whereas now I just prep it so that I don't have like much busy work and it's not as much of me studying. That's gonna help you, but also just be prepared for it and don't be mad about it. Just expect the first year to be a lot of studying and research. I studied so much more over the last year than I did in school because I just had like so many real life scenarios in front of me. It's not a big deal, it's fine. Number 2, prepare to feel a little overwhelmed. Not because you're not good at this and not because you don't know what you're doing, but it's a new job. If you're coming from nurse to nurse practitioner, it's very different. If you are a new grad PA, it's very different. The nuances of the job are going to take you a lot of time. Things like placing referrals, ordering labs, even knowing the right person to place the referral to. Little things like that. So you're going to feel overwhelmed and it's going to feel like a lot. And now I feel like I can close my eyes and do it in my sleep. And that's just 1 year in. So if you set the expectations like that, you'll probably be pleasantly surprised. Next, get comfortable, if you aren't already, with presenting patients. Because every time you have a question for a colleague or maybe your collaborating provider or mentor, you have to present the patient. And they don't want to sit there and listen to you present a patient for 10 minutes. They have their own patients to see. So you need to make sure you present them with the most important information and as quickly as possible so that you can have your conversation and they can go on with their day. Next, know your resources and how to access them. Maybe your resources are the secretaries at the front desk. Maybe your resources are your colleagues. Maybe your resources are up to date or even open evidence, my absolute fave. Know where to go and how to get there because it's gonna help you. Up to date and open evidence are continuous running tabs on both of my laptop when I'm in the room with a patient and on my desktop. And I am constantly asking other people questions. So get comfortable with it. It's not a big deal. Just the other day, I was like, wow, I think I've only asked like 3 questions this whole week. And I was like mind blown by it. Whereas when I first started, I was asking many, many questions every day. Okay, next. Come up with a game plan as to how you're going to tell a patient that you don't know the answer to something, okay? So I've shared a video on TikTok before about this, but a couple of like examples or things that you can say to a patient are things like this. So maybe you're in the room with the patient and you have come up with a diagnosis and a treatment plan, right? You could say something like, this is what I think is going on and this is what I'm going to do for you. But when you leave, I'm also going to collaborate with one of the other providers in the office and just see if they have any other ideas or if they would do anything differently. And then I will call you if I'm going to change anything. Sometimes I see rashes or am visually needing to look at something and I'm not 100% sure. And I'm like, are you okay if I bring in another set of eyes just so that they can look at this with me too? And they're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I bring the other provider in and I say, this is so-and-so and this is what's going on. Can you look at it with me? And they look at it and we talk about it together right in front of the patient, and it's great. There were many times in the beginning where I said to a patient, again, like, this is what I think is going on, but I just want to make sure that I'm covering all of my bases here. So I'm just going to step out really quick, talk to one of the other providers here, maybe their own PCP if it's not my patient, and then I'm going to come back in if you could just wait 1 second. And they're like, yeah, sure. And so then I go do that and I come back and that's it. There's also times where they ask you questions like, oh, who's the best neurologist that I should go see? And in the beginning, you're like, I don't know. So instead of just putting in a referral to a random person, you say to them, I'm going to put in a referral to neuro, but I'm going to go ask like some of the other people in the office who they think is the best person. And then I'll put that referral in and then I'll call you back and I'll let you know. And in the beginning, you're doing a lot of that, like talking to people after you see a patient and maybe calling a patient back, or like busy work after you saw a patient. Like, now I can put in referrals, labs, and orders all while I'm in the room with the patient. Back when I started, that was so much busy work that I had to do outside of the patient because I couldn't manage both in the room. And that's fine. That's fine. It comes with time, you guys. It comes with time. You can also say things to a patient like, no, I am not 100% familiar with that thing that you're asking me about. Maybe it's a side effect to a medication. Maybe they're asking you if a supplement is safe for them to take. Maybe they're presenting a random autoimmune diagnosis to you that they think that they have. You can say to them, I am not familiar with that, but after you leave, I'm going to go do research and also ask others and learn a lot about it, and then I will get back to you on what I think. Or you can even say to them, like, do you want to tell me about it? Have you done a lot of research on it? Like, maybe I can learn something here too. If you tell people that you are new, they are not going to care. They're gonna care if you try to put on this front and act like you know everything and just aimlessly do things with them because you don't want to show that you don't know something or let it hurt your pride. That's when patients care. But when you first start and you let them know that you're new and that you're still learning, maybe it's even just like learning, again, the nuances of the office, or maybe it is learning about a lot more in the field that you are now working in, it's okay. You just have to tell them that you're going to do everything that you need to do to get to the right answer for them or to figure this out. And it just gets better and better every single time. I also will very openly admit to anybody who asks me that I have gone on Open Evidence or Up to Date in a room with a patient and looked something up, and will tell them that I'm doing that. Again, an example, a side effect of a medication that a patient is asking me about. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look on I call it my pharmacy encyclopedia or my medical database. And I'm like, I'm just actually going to look that up. And sometimes I will turn the computer to them and show them what I'm reading because it's fine. I'm not just going to Google and Googling something because that's what they can do. But they're coming to see you. So you need to present them with evidence-based information, right? There's also been many other times where I don't tell a patient I'm looking something up and I am multitasking and listening to them and documenting, or also looking something up on Up to Date, like an algorithm or the most safe steroid for them to take based on like where the rash is, right? Talking about like potency and stuff like that. And they have no idea. I'm using my resources to help me get to the best answer for my patients so that I do things safely. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me end with this, okay? The first at least 6 months of being a new provider, all that you need to do in those appointments is come up with differentials. And what I mean by that, let's say a patient comes in with abdominal pain, right? Let's just say right upper quadrant abdominal pain, and you're leaning 1, maybe 3 different ways, okay? So you are in the room with the patient, you are getting the story, you are assessing the patient, you are asking them questions, you're pressing on their belly, and you have now come up with 3 possible differentials. Let's say gallstones, let's say a GI bug, and let's say kidney stones, because maybe it goes a little bit over into the flank area, right? So you have come up with 3 differentials in your head. Let your patient know that you have come up with those differentials, and let them know that you're going to start with one of those being, let's say, the most dangerous, right? And you're going to work that up. And if that is not the right answer, you're going to move down the line to the next one. And if that's not the answer, you're going to move down the line to the next one. And you can tell them this, and they will love to hear this, because they already know that if they don't have it figured out in the beginning, you already know your next step. And then as you are working up these differentials and coming to an answer with a patient, you're not going to have to do that with future patients, because now you know what cholecystitis looks like on a patient and what imaging you're going to need and what the imaging results might show and what labs you may need if you think that it's obstructed and what the labs are going to show, because you're doing it time after time after time. And so the first few patients, yeah, you do have to work up a couple of differentials. But for the future patients, you won't have to, because now you kind of know what to expect. So if you can effectively and safely come up with a couple of differentials for your patients that you are seeing, you are doing great and are already on the right track. Also, in the beginning, you might be too nervous to say to a patient that you think that what they're experiencing is something very normal or maybe something very benign. So you might do some more extensive workups in the beginning of your career than you do a year into it. And it's fine, as long as you're not doing, any harm to a patient or giving them radiation when they really don't need radiation. It's fine. Sometimes you have to kind of work up symptoms with patients to see what it could be, to then learn for your future patients. So don't get discouraged by that. In the beginning, I was so scared to tell people that I think that what they're experiencing is totally fine and benign. And now I feel so much more comfortable with it, because I can comfortably say, this is what it usually looks like, that type of stuff, because I have done it with so many other patients now. So lean into being new. Let people know where to go for help, ask for the help, and just be honest with your patients, you guys. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as we're practicing safely and we know how to get to the right answer for our patients, you're just learning every single day, and it gets so much easier.